Nuclear launch detected.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are taking a look, one final look at the garrisons. God, it's gonna be so nice to just see these things no longer here. Even though we are replacing them with the class order halls, they are a bit different, and you won't have to worry about the mission tables as much, any of that stuff. Just stop on by, get your next little quest objective, and continue on going. Now, there are still a few things you can end up doing to prep to end up going. As you can see, I'm on my Demon Hunter here, and obviously, maxing out your professions is going to be one of the main things that you can still take a chance at doing and just bust it all out while you still have time. Still a few hours left before we end up taking control and going right into the Legion, blinking Dalaran to the Broken Isles, and so on and so forth, just to get a head start. But you definitely are going to want a few different things. Archaeology, for one. You do have a skin that's going to be based off of a achievement through archaeology. So just make sure that whenever you're doing this, you know what you're going for. Also, leatherworking, skinning, all your professions have had a awesome revamp, and you're going to have quest lines between each one. So they are going to offer some extra content in their own. So depending on what you end up taking for your professions, going to have a cool little quest line to go along with it. Make sure you get that done. As for first aid, well, really, there's not a whole hell of a lot still going on with it. Cooking is still always nice to end up having. Fishing is a bitch still. Everybody hates fishing. I think that's probably the worst thing that's out there right now. But hey, it's done. It's over with. And then archaeology really isn't so bad, especially with the new little shovel animation they put over your head whenever you find your dig sites. Absolutely awesome. So pushing on the other thing, make sure your bag space is nice and clear. Obviously, this tune doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of gold just because it's fairly new, and I don't like transferring it back and forth too damn often. So what we're looking at outside of that, what are we looking at to actually progress ourselves, and what do we need to know before we go in? A couple different things. As soon as you get over there, no real spoilers, but you're going to be unlocking your first artifact, and then at 102 you'll be able to do your second artifact and third, depending on how many specs you actually have. Being a Demon Hunter, this one's only going to have the two, so at 102 I'll be able to have both of them. I will be leveling this thing as Vengeance, so I know what I'm going for, and I probably won't even touch the Havoc artifact until after I've reached 110. Now, with this being in mind, I already know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going for, and I've already tracked out exactly how I want to lay my artifact points into the Vengeance artifact. If you haven't already done it, Wowhead, yes, I'm throwing a plug in their direction because they obviously have some of the best utilities for this game. And what you're really looking at doing is getting your calculator, going into Wowhead Calculator, and I will put the link in the comments so everybody can end up seeing it. But go over your talents, exactly how you want to end up doing it. Definitely end up taking a large look at how we want to end up putting this thing together. Make sure you know where you're going with it, because respecking it is going to cost quite a bit after that 13th point. Before then, not so bad, but you should be able to get both, well, in my case both, but in most cases all three of your artifacts up to that 13th point fairly easy compared to taking on that 14th point in the artifact. It goes all the way up to the 13th one being 1,000 artifact power. And then on that 14th one, it's 6,600 currently. You can basically do both other artifacts if you do have three. Druids, maybe not so much because of that fourth one. But you can actually build the ones that you want to end up using up to that 13th point fairly easy before taking on that 14th one. And that's where the commitment's going to come in. So it's not as scary as what a lot of people are thinking. And there is a lot of different artifact power out there. And as time progresses with the research, as Blizzard's already mentioned time and time again, you're going to have a fairly easy way of doing this. Now, pushing on, what we also need to end up checking out, do we have everything that we need to end up going in? Me, for example, one of the things I'm doing to make sure that I push through a lot faster is I have made myself a bunch of Drums of Fury. That way, you know, if I want to end up pushing through a rare mob a lot quicker, I can end up popping that thing and just nuking it down super fast. I've also got me some agility flasks here, even though they're older ones and they won't do as much later on, around 75 plus, or 75, 105 plus. It's still going to end up helping to that point. And then I've also got some food to end up taking care of that also. I don't plan on dying a whole hell of a lot, but I do plan on pushing. What do I plan on doing when Legion comes? I am going to just let you know real quick, I am going to start streaming yet again. Kids are back in school, so I'm going to have some time in the mornings to end up actually doing this again. Still not sure if I'm going to end up going to Twitch or if I'm going to stream directly through YouTube, as their streams seem to end up hitting a lot of more people lately. Just because they can end up checking it out on their phones, they can end up doing a lot of different stuff, as where Twitch is still basically computer-based. It's a nice little feature that YouTube's put out, so I don't know. I might end up doing a couple days on YouTube, and I might end up doing a couple days on Twitch just to see how it feels and how people seem to respond to it. That's just one of the things that I plan on doing. The other thing I plan on doing is definitely plan on doing some class guides as we get further on. All at 110 though, so it may take some time to get out there. You may see a couple gaps in content, unlike usual, before we end up pushing on and anything else. So you might just see a couple live streams here or there with nothing too interesting, you know, maybe a couple mythic dungeons here or there, until we get the Mythic Plus. It actually opens up, for those that don't know, raid schedule and everything. The way that this has turned out with the raid schedule and what they've done with the Mythic Plus, the Mythic Plus is not going to come out until the raid does. The raid, Emerald Nightmare, does not drop until September 20th. You have plenty of time to get yourself geared, get a couple alts up there, do whatever you plan on doing, but you definitely have plenty of time to get that started, and then the following week they'll open up the Mythics, and it'll end up slowly progressing from there. If you haven't seen it already, there's a couple blue posts on it. You might want to check it out just to see how it's going. As for regular Mythics, they will not actually end up releasing until Tuesday, August 30th, when we end up releasing. They will not end up releasing the Mythic Dungeons until Dungeons reset. So when the Dungeons reset at that point, that's when the Mythic Dungeons will actually unlock for everybody. Back to what I was talking about with content on here. I plan on doing some dungeon guides. I plan on doing class guides. Will I get them all? More than likely not. I'm going to stick with more or less my favorites and the ones that I'm actually very good with. And I'll end up making sure that those end up getting out and we end up having some solid feedback. I am going to definitely take more time on pushing better quality videos beforehand. It was kind of a race on time because things kept changing so often and it really didn't end up working out that well. And I tried getting as much content done as possible. Now, the main thing that you're looking at from this channel going forward in Legion is going to be a lot more information. That's the main thing about this channel. I want people to enjoy themselves, but I also want them to take the information that's going. And I want you guys to end up knowing that when I let you know something, it's not only going to be through testing, but also research. Everybody seems to have their own opinions on different things, so obviously not everything's going to match with what you think 100% of the time. But no, from my brain point, that's what I'm seeing as a better aspect. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Definitely going into Legion. Going to be nice and strong. Going to love every minute of this thing because there's so much extra content already being produced with the 7.1, with the Karazhan, and then other Stormheim raid that they're planning on coming out with. There's a lot of different content that's just waiting to get out there. And I can't believe it. I mean, we've never really seen this much content before an expansion's even dropped before. And it's absolutely amazing to end up seeing. So hopefully this keeps going and they actually keep us interested, unlike Warlords of Draenor. As far as I'm concerned, the nuclear launch has been detected and this thing can just blow off the face of the fucking map. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. And I really hope to see y'all in Legion. Thanks for watching.